Hi, everybody. Welcome to English Digest. I'm Stephanie.
I'm Tom.
Well, Merry Christmas. It's our culture unit. Yeah, we're going to be talking about Christmas trees today. It's December 24th. I have to be honest, December 24th or Christmas Eve is even better than Christmas for me. Christmas Eve was the night, of course, that Santa would come. It's the night where the entire family would come over to my parents' house and we'd have Santa come and visit. It was usually one of my brothers-in-law. He had a Santa suit from work from years ago. And it was funny. Some of the kids really didn't even know who he was. It's hilarious. But he would come and he would hand out a present that my mom had bought in advance for all the grandkids. So that was always fun. And then you'd go to sleep at night and you could barely sleep because you were so excited about, Santa coming and giving you presents. Yeah, Christmas Eve is wonderful.
There is a tradition in the U.S. at least of when you open your presents. You either do it on Christmas Eve or on Christmas Day.
Oh, do you guys do Christmas Eve?
I think my mother just wanted to get it out of the way.
Okay.
They do all the Christmas shopping and then put the presents somewhere, hide them, and then my dad would take us over to my grandmother's house. Yeah, we have to go over and wish grandmother happy Christmas or whatever. So while we were gone, my mother would take the presents out of the hiding place and put them under the tree. Look, kids, Santa Claus was here. Oh, great. Hey, when can we open them? After we eat. And we usually had chili as a traditional Christmas Eve dinner and stuff like that. But yeah, I agree with you. Christmas Eve is more exciting than Christmas Day. Christmas Day, you're kind of home. It's cold outside, and you can't really go anywhere. And you play with your new toys and stuff, but you get bored of them really fast, and you look at your watch and wonder, gee, when's the next Christmas coming?
Yeah, I'm ready for next year. We don't open our presents on Christmas Eve like you guys do, but we would open one. And I think that that's how Santa Claus visiting and giving us a present came into being, because people want to do something on Christmas Eve. It's fun. I know some other families that open their gifts on Christmas Eve. Well, one of the most beautiful ways to decorate for Christmas, of course, is to have a Christmas tree. And we're going to be talking about real trees versus fake trees, or what else do we call them? Artificial trees. Yeah, we didn't call them fake trees. We've had both in my family, so we'll talk about that. But first, guys, we're going to read through today's lesson. One of the most splendid rituals of Christmas in the West is erecting a tree in the living room and decorating it brightly. The practice started in Europe in the 1500s and was adopted in the U.S. about 200 years ago. Up until the 1940s, most people cut down their trees from a nearby forest. As cities and suburbs replaced wooded areas, commercial Christmas tree farms sprouted up to grow into an entirely new industry. Every November for the past 80 years or so, tree farmers have been transporting forests worth of trees to vacant lots to sell to local residents. Around the 1950s, artificial trees became popular, as their metal and plastic parts could be efficiently packed into boxes and assembled at home, giving the public an easier option. Many consumers had reason to be wary of real trees, considering that they are highly flammable. And carelessness with the hot lights used to decorate them can set branches alight. Real trees also create trouble when they're dragged outside after Christmas, as they drop dry needles all along the way. It is also a challenge to dispose of real trees, which often requires a drive to the tree recycling center. More recently, environmental concerns have become a factor. With an increase in forest fires, droughts, and floods, tree farmers are finding it more difficult to raise their trees and remain profitable. Full-size Christmas trees take about 7 years to cultivate, and within that time, A number of weather occurrences can potentially wipe out a whole planting. Meanwhile, the artificial tree business is also in distress. With more consumers avoiding plastic, it's becoming commonplace to see homes without any kind of tree at Christmas time. Given the planet's changing climate and consumers' growing environmental awareness, it seems that this centuries-old heritage could soon disappear.
Okay, let's get down to business here and talk about Christmas trees. If you haven't set up your Christmas tree yet, well, it might not be too late. It's Christmas Eve today and Christmas Day tomorrow. But, most of the trees I've seen in Taiwan are all artificial. So I'm sure you probably you can see plenty of those trees around your neighborhood or whatever, in shopping malls or whatever. But yeah, Christmas trees, that's the subject for today's lesson. But we're asking the question, are they a fading tradition? Are they a tradition that is going the way of the dinosaurs? Are we going to see fewer and fewer Christmas trees out there? I did not know this was happening. This is news to me. But yeah, what will we do without Christmas trees? What is Christmas without the Christmas tree?
I know for a fact that my family will never give up on the Christmas tree. That's part of Christmas, and it's so wonderful to see them. So even with all the problems we have in the world, I'm not going to give up the Christmas tree. So let's take a look at this first paragraph. One of the most splendid rituals of Christmas in the West is just putting up that Christmas tree in your living room or family room, wherever you put it, and then decorating it. So it's bright, it's happy looking, it's beautiful. Now, if something's splendid, guys, it just means it's really impressive, it's magnificent, it's wonderful. Splendid is also used quite frequently by the British. The British folks love to say splendid. Oh, it's splendid. So it's kind of a fun word that you'll often hear if you're watching British TV shows or movies. But it is a splendid ritual. And it's one of those things that is just part of Christmas. That's why we're calling putting up a tree as a ritual, something that's done over and over, usually for a festival.
Exactly. And of course, you've got your own rituals for local holidays here.
Yeah, totally.
The ritual of having outdoor barbecues at a Mid-Autumn Festival, or the tradition or ritual of having a big meal on Chinese New Year's Eve. Those are all splendid rituals.
We love them.
Yeah, one of the best ones, one of the most fantastic, wonderful, excellent, magnificent, great traditions that we have in the West is putting up or erecting a tree in the living room. It's too cold outside and your bedroom is too small. So yeah, it's got to be in the living room, and then you decorate it brightly with colored lights and tinsel. Some people put strings of popcorn on it. Looks kind of tacky. And also, of course, you put the bulbs on there and ornaments. And then you put something on top. You can put a star up there, or some people put an angel up there.
Yeah, I think we had an angel most of the time. So the tradition started in Europe back in the 1500s. Whoa, a long time ago. And again, this started in Europe, and then eventually it made its way over the Atlantic Ocean. And Americans adopted this Christmas tree tradition about 200 years ago. That's when it started in the U.S. So up until the 1940s, most people cut down their trees from a nearby forest. There were a lot of forests. You could just go, and you didn't even have to get a permit or a pass or anything. You just go into the forest and get your tree.
As cities and suburbs replaced wooded areas, commercial Christmas tree farms sprouted up to grow into an entirely new industry. So yes, there was the urban expansion. Cities grew larger and larger, and lots of small forests were cut down, and apartment buildings and houses were built there. So yes, those suburbs replaced those wooden areas. A suburb is just a town or a city that's outside of a major city. basically like all those towns on Long Island are suburbs of New York City, or basically all those towns in New Jersey are suburbs of New York or Newark, New Jersey.Right.
In the suburbs, they usually have single-family homes instead of apartment buildings. So if you talk about something being commercial, it just means it's for sale or it's used to make a profit in some way. So it's commercial. These are commercial Christmas tree farms. They have these farms just to grow Christmas trees. It says they sprouted up to grow into an entirely new industry. Oh, yeah, this would be a brand new industry because...Christmas trees are fairly new in the U.S. To sprout up just means to appear very quickly all over. For example, Starbucks, when they became popular, they were just sprouting up everywhere. Or here in Taiwan, we have a lot of convenience stores that sprouted up over the years.
Yeah, when a seed opens up and starts growing into a plant, the first thing that comes out of the seed is a sprout. And you can use that word as a noun or a verb. And we've got the verb phrase to sprout up, which means basically they start growing. And there was this new industry where people could make money every year at Christmas time. But things supposedly have changed, which we'll get to in just a second. But right now we're going to take a break and listen to our Chinese teacher.
听众朋友大家好，我是安娜。圣诞节快乐！今天是圣诞夜、平安夜。不晓得你家里有没有树一个圣诞树呢？不管是天然的还是人造的呢？如果没有的话，其实现在好像大家都不太会树这个 Christmas tree， 因为就像这个文章所讲的，它似乎是一个好像快要消失的 tradition。在标题当中的 fade。F-A-D-E 这个动词是有慢慢要消失啦，或者是声音渐渐听不到啦，甚至光渐渐变得微弱，这个动词都可以用 fade。不过这篇文章呢，因为是做成一个文艺选择的这种一个情况啊，所以我们还是要照例的先看一下选项大概有哪一些。不过劝大家呢，就是如果在做这一种文艺选择的题目啊，假设你的选项当中还是有很多看不懂的字，其实不妨可以先翻一下我们后面的解释，然后稍微了解一下那些选项的意思，再回过头来填到文章当中，这样子练习的学习效果会比较好一些。那么照例的我们来看一下，像 A 的 dispose of 有丢弃啦、处理掉的意思。那么 C 的 assemble 指的是组装哦，不过它是以 PP 或者是过去式的形式出现。那么大概比较要注意的可能还有 H vacant 是形容词，就是空的，没有人使用的意思。那么 J 呢 cultivate 有耕种啊、种东西啊，甚至培养人才的培养。好，那么接着我们就回过头来看看文章咯。因为文章啊一开始其实就在讲说，这个耶诞节啊，其实大家这个传统就是要把 Christmas tree erect 把它扶正，把它在家里树一个耶诞节的树。但是这个 practice 其实是在16世纪的时候欧洲就已经开始，而美国呢则是200年前。那么这样的语义在第一段的第2句当中，也就是第一格，我们看到其实有一个 be 动词的 was， 这个如果是 be 动词的 was 之后，大概只有形容词啦、动词 ing 啦，或者是 pp 啦。所以如果讲到这样子的习俗，在美国是200年前开始的，或者是采用的，大家取得的，那这一题选 F adopted 是比较适合的。不过第2格呢，我们看到一下这句话，圣诞节的树啊，也就是 commercial 这种商业树，变成一个 new industry 新兴的产业，因为城市跟郊区已经把林地都取代掉了。根据文意，这个选 D replaced 取代是比较适合的。
We're going to take a quick break. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back, guys. We're talking about Christmas trees. Are they a fading tradition? A tradition that's slowly going away? People used to actually go into a forest cut down their own tree, drag it home, and then decorate it. But that's changed as cities and suburbs slowly replaced all these wooded areas or forests. And so now we actually have commercial Christmas tree farms that grow Christmas trees for profit. And this is a new industry. And every November for the past 80 years or so, tree farmers have been transporting forests worth of trees to vacant lots to sell to local residents. If you transport something, guys, it just means you're moving things or people from one place to another. Transport is a noun or a verb. Here, of course, we're using it as a verb. And also, we have the word transportation. Public transportation here in Taiwan would include the MRT and the bus system. It wouldn't include taxis because you're usually one person just using a taxi. It's not used by a lot of people at one time.
Okay, so that's a lot of trees there, the amount in a forest there, and they'd be transported to places where people could come and buy them. And around the 1950s, artificial trees became popular as their metal and plastic parts could be efficiently packed into boxes and assembled at home, giving the public an easier option. So yeah, these are artificial trees. They're not real. Rengongde, as you say in Chinese. Artificial trees. There are lots of artificial things out there. Artificial ingredients, for example, in various products. And these ones were made from metal and plastic. And yes, you could put them into boxes and pack them away after Christmas and then pull them out again next year and put the tree together. That's what assemble here means, to put them together. And yes, here in Taiwan, we have an artificial Christmas tree that is standing right now as we speak, and we bought it at IKEA, about 10 years ago, and we take it out every year and put it together, and then we take it down around Chinese New Year's time.
Oh, nice, nice. Yeah, we keep ours up until at least January the 2nd, and then, you have to put everything away. But, yeah, well, many consumers had reason to be wary of real trees. Reason can be used in a non-count way, also as a countable way. Here we're using it as a non-count way. If you're wary of something, you're a little cautious. Maybe you think there's a possible problem or danger involved. So what were they cautious or wary about? Well, these Christmas trees are highly flammable. The real ones will catch fire very easily. And if you're careless with your lights that you string around your tree, sometimes you have a problem with the wiring, and it could have a little spark, and suddenly the tree's on fire, and then your whole house is on fire. It's not a good thing. So we would always turn off the lights before we went to bed to make sure that the lights... We had an artificial tree, though, just to make sure that that spark didn't catch on fire. So real trees also are a pain because when you drag them outside after Christmas or the New Year, they drop their needles, those little parts of the tree, on pine trees. And, it's a mess. Vacuuming them up, picking them up by hand, it's a mess.
Yeah, they can ruin your vacuum cleaner. So, yeah, you do have to pick them up by hand for the most part, or sweep them up. But, of course, our living room was carpeted.
So was ours, yeah.
So it was kind of difficult to get rid of all those pine needles. And also at the time, those Christmas lights were made of different kinds of bulb. Nowadays, we got the LED lights, which don't burn as hot as those old bulbs did, so perhaps there's less danger there. But yeah, they were highly flammable then. They could catch fire easily. And, of course, those hot lights, which were used to decorate them, could turn those branches into fire there. Now, real trees also create trouble, as you said, when they're dragged outside because they drop needles all the way. And disposing of real trees is also a challenge, usually requiring a drive to the tree recycling center.
So more recently, we've had environmental concerns. If something becomes a factor, it just means something you have to think about, worry about. With an increase in forest fires, droughts are when an area doesn't have enough rainfall. And when things become very dry outside, you can have more fires light up. For example, in California, they had a lot of wildfires there's a lot of dead branches that just are in the forest, and it's easy for them to catch fire. So a drought, this is a weird word, guys. It isn't spelled like we say it, drought, but that's how you say that word, drought. Just not having enough water. Sometimes we'll have droughts here in Taiwan, but we typically have quite a bit of rain. They'd also have floods sometimes. So these tree farmers are finding it more difficult to raise their trees and remain profitable. If you can't make a profit out of a business, your business will fail and you'll have to, stop doing that. So full-size Christmas trees take about 7 years to cultivate. It takes 7 years for them to grow big enough to be used as a Christmas tree. And within that time, a number of weather occurrences can potentially wipe out a whole planting. An occurrence is when something happens. You'll often see it in police reports or official documents. Yeah, there was an occurrence of a robbery or occurrence of occurrence of a flood 10 years ago. And if you wipe something out, something is completely destroyed. Now, for those of you out there that like skateboards, to wipe out means you just crash really badly. But that's the slang use of this. To wipe out here just means to be destroyed completely.
The asteroid that hit the Earth wiped out the dinosaurs, you could say, 65 million years ago, as an example. And here in the next paragraph it says, meanwhile, while something is happening, this is happening, the artificial tree business is also in distress. They're also in trouble with more consumers avoiding plastic. It's becoming commonplace to see homes without any kind of tree at Christmas time. So I guess in order to be environmentally friendly, lots of people are saying, nope, we're not going to put up an artificial Christmas tree because they use too much plastic. I don't think the artificial tree that we have has plastic in it.
Yeah, ours was metal.
But I guess that is a concern for other kinds of trees there. People are saying, nope, we're just not going to have a tree this year.
Yeah, so given the planet's changing climate and consumers' growing environmental awareness, it seems like this centuries-old heritage could soon disappear. Heritage is a very similar word to tradition. So, yeah, my heritage is, my family's heritage comes from Germany. I could say that as an example. Centuries old, we're just telling you how old that tradition is. Centuries old would be 200-300 years, 400, whatever you're talking about. We hope it doesn't disappear because I think it's one of our best traditions.
Yeah, maybe it will be replaced with something else. But don't get rid of those colorful lights. I love those, and they always look best on a Christmas tree. But we do have to change with the times. Okay, that brings us to the end of our explanation for today. It's time now to listen to our very merry and very jolly Chinese teacher.
所以接下来看到第3题啊，因为在过去的好几十年都是会把这个椰蛋树啊送到空地，然后呢给当地的居民，所以这句话第3格其实动词抓出来 transport something to a place， 那有一个关键大概就是第3格后面的这个 lot。L-O-T， 你想想看 parking lot 指的就是停车场，所以这个 lot 它其实就有一片空地的意思，所以第3格选 H vacant 是比较适合的哦。那么第4格呢，是因为句子有提到像人造的椰蛋树啊，在组装啊还有在包装上都很容易，因为第4格这里的答案啊跟前面的 be packed、be assembled 它其实是2个 PP 2个过去分词，所以再加组装 assembled， 第4格选 C 是比较适合的。那么第5格这一句话呢，可能要特别的注意一下，因为这句话我们要先从前面逗点的 considering that 这2个字可以把它划线起来，字面上就是考虑到某一件事情，言下之意就是表示原因。那么为什么很多人都会 be wary of 真正的椰蛋树呢？就是因为真正的椰蛋树高度的如何，所以如果不小心 careless， 那么这些很热的灯泡就会让它们燃烧。所以根据文意上还有根据这个句构上呢，第5格应该选 I flammable是最适合的。不过这句话当中啊，有一个关系子句的简化，先行词是 the hot lights。那么简化的关系子句是 used to decorate them， 这4个字可以左右括号起来。那么省略的是 that were。好，那么到了第6格，其实这一句呢是一个虚主词的句型 ，IT 是虚主词。什么事情是一个挑战呢？真主词第6格 to do something。如果要把真的树丢掉，也就是要回收，那这个也是一个很大的挑战，因为真的很高诶。所以第6格根据文意 to do something 选 A to dispose of。那么接下来我们看一下第7格。第7格其实前面看到一个动词的 remain， 大概就知道它的用法。remain 表示的是仍然如何，仍然是，通常后面都会加形容词啦、动词 ing 啦，或者是 PP 都可以，会用来修饰前面的主词。所以现在这句话提到那个种树的农夫啊，就觉得说，哎呀，现在因为环境改变啊，如果要 raise their trees， 要种树，而且还要有利润 ，remain profitable， 真的是蛮困难的。再加上后面的第8句，因为如果要种到那么高的一个全尺寸的椰蛋树，差不多要花7年的时间来种。To cultivate， 所以第8格用 cultivate 是最适当的。所以现在呢，也越来越少人去种这个椰蛋树了。不过最后一段我们提到啊，像人工树、人工的椰蛋树，现在状况也不是很好诶。根据上下文的文意，再加上我们标题一直提到的，现在要立椰蛋树好像是一个 fading tradition， 所以人造树也是很痛苦诶。Be in distress。也是不幸的状况耶，也不太好耶。因为呢，大家都有一种环保的意识。最后一格 growing， 越来越多的 environmental awareness， 在形容词之后，我们第10格给一个名词，有意识到。所以现在几乎没有人在树椰蛋树了。不管有没有树椰蛋树，还是要祝大家圣诞节平安快乐哦。我是安娜，我们下次见。
Okay, that's it for today. Thank you so much for joining us. And from all of us here at English Digest, Merry Christmas! I hope you have a nice holiday. And yeah, we've got some other holidays coming up pretty soon as well. So this is the season to be jolly. Again, from all of us here, thank you for joining us. And please join us again next time. From all of us here at English Digest, I'm Tom.
I'm Stephanie.
Bye.
Bye.